Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So in this video, I will go over lab 5, which is under unit 5. And again, for this week, you have two parts, two lab submissions. One of them is the theory questions. So you have to complete these questions, write answers for these questions in a document and upload it on Moodle. And the second part will be the practical tasks. And I'll only focus on the practical tasks. You can do the theory questions in your own time, but I will give you feedback once you submit the answers for those questions. So for the practical tasks, the first thing you need to do is you should use the appropriate command to check the processes you are running. All right, so you have to see the processes that are basically running on your account. So if you can just use the command ps for that, and it will show you all the processes that you are running. The second thing is you should use the appropriate command to check the processor activity in real time. Anywhere, if in the question it says real time, you need to use the command top. Okay, so that would be top. But then they also want you to do, they also want you to only show one iteration. Okay, now you don't know this. So let's say if this question would come in exam, what I would do is because I don't know what is an iteration at this point, I would just write man and then top, and it will give me all the options. Right now, this is a very big document. One thing that I found useful is if you press slash, notice that it's typing at the bottom of the screen here, slash, and then the word you're looking for. So I'm looking for iteration, right? So I would type that word here, and it will highlight that for me. So there's one here, but this one is the number of iterations. This is the one we want, minus n. So how do you use it? You write minus n along with the number. So minus n space and the number you want to write. So here it says 1. So you would write minus n 1. Now what this does is basically when you run the command top, it's like task manager. It updates in real time all the processes. It shows you in real time all the processes that are running. But when you do minus n 1 or minus n whatever number, it will show you all the processes for that particular time, and that's it. It will not change. So it's like you can think of it like a screenshot. So you've run, for example, you run the task manager, or you open or you run the top command, and it only shows you the processes that are running at that time, and that's it. It doesn't update after that. So for example, let's see the difference. So if you write top, you will see that these basically are changing in real time. I don't know. Yeah, you can see now that they're basically changing in real time. But once you write top, you're supposed to write Q for it to give you the prompt back so you can type your commands. But after that, if you try top minus n 1, this will not change. This is like a screenshot. So it saw all the processes that are running, and it kind of took like a picture of it for you to see, and that's it. It won't change. Okay. So that's the second command. So the second command was basically top minus n 1. Okay. Now the output to 1a and 1b should be placed in text file named lab5q1. So they're asking you for the output, okay, not the command. They're not asking you to write the command, they're asking you to write the output. Now, if you use echo and then ps, for example, and then lab5q1.txt, then, and if you try to view it, it's going to show you that it has PS, the word PS, but that's the command, right? We want to see the output. So in that case, you're supposed to write PS without the echo and lab5q1.txt. So then what happens is it will run the command PS, whatever the output was, that will be written to file lab5q1.txt. So now if you run more lab5q1, it shows you the processes that are running. Okay. Now the second is the top command. So it would be top minus n1 and then append, because we already have data or text in the file, so we don't want to overwrite it, right? We want to add it after this, let's say after this information, because if you do it this way, lab 5q1, and you run more, it got rid of the previous data. So for that, the first command would be PS and then top, but with append. I just recommend using append all the time so that you don't overwrite by mistake. Okay, so that is done. Now if you run more, you should have your first output here. Anyway, so the next thing, let's clear the screen. Okay, so we're done with the first question. Now for the second question, keep PuTTY session running and remotely log into GNOME. You should reduce the size of the window so you can view both. Okay, so you're supposed to open RDP. You can just write RDP or write remote desktop connection and connect to student1 bp test, student1.bptest.cloud or whatever server you're using. Connect. It will give you a warning. Just press on yes and log in. Okay. Yeah. So, and then you can reduce the size, and if you drag it to the side of the screen, it will fill the other side. Now I can't see the question, but I will read it because I have it on my phone. So, okay, it said keep your PuTTY session running. Okay, we did that. Now run the same command you used in 1B, but this time let it refresh continually. So last command that we used was top minus, was top minus n and then 1. But that will not refresh. That will just take all the processes that are running, and that's it. It won't refresh anything. But they want you to refresh the processes. So you can just write top, and that's it. Okay. So it will show you all the processes that are running. Now, in GNOME, you have to open Word. So I'll click on Activities, and then not Word, LibreOffice. So it's like Word document, but just get the point. It's like Word. Okay. So here, if I type something, you will see that S Office will show up. Oh my God, where is it? S Office will show up, and it's my username, right? So that means whatever you're doing here is basically being shown here at the top. Okay, it's showing you all the running processes, and one of those processes are when I'm using this software. Okay, now observe what happens with the processes in the real time if you type in the document or use the browser. So if I type here, this is what I just said. If I type here, it's going to show me that I'm using Office here. That's the only thing you have to observe when you're using a software or when you're running a program. The processes will basically show up here at the top. Okay, because that is what is happening when you use like a process is basically running when you're using a program. Then oh, we also have to do the same thing for what's it called, the other thing I forgot. Chromium. We also have to do the same thing for Chromium. So, oh, I shouldn't have closed it. My bad. Okay, I'll open it again. So this is Office, not Office, LibreOffice. And then you have Chromium web browser. And for some reason it asks for password, but that's okay. So if I type something here, again, you can see I'm using Chromium browser, so it's showing up here in the processes that I'm using Chromium browser. So basically, that is what's happening. You have two what's it called? Two processes running, and they're showing up at the top when you keep using the software. Now I'll press Q to quit. And then the next question says, confirm that the process state has updated with LibreOffice and Chromium. Note you may have to display all processes. So how do you display all process? PS minus EF, right? You just need to see that, or if you can even use PS minus A, and it does the same thing, but you will notice that okay, again, I don't know if this is showing. I think all of these processes are being shown for everyone. So if I want to see just my processes, I can use PS minus EF minus U, and then my username, and it will show you my processes. And you can see I'm basically, oh, it's not showing. Oh, sorry, you should not write. 1 second. Let's write PS. Oh, we can just write PS. Actually, sorry. You can just write PS. Okay, it didn't show. PS minus U. Okay, now you can see that I'm using Chromium and then I'm using Office. These are the last two processes that I'm using. So basically, you can see them in the running processes using PS minus U and then your account name. Then what's next? The output to 2D should be placed in a text file named lab5 underscore q2. So the same command, but just append it to lab5 q2.txt. Okay. Then what's next? Using the appropriate command, close down LibreOffice. You will need to note the PID. So I can see here the process ID is 21068. I'm not sure if it's the correct one, but let's try. So if you want to kill a process, you can just use kill minus 9, but in this case, you need to know the process ID, which is the number, right? So 21068. Oh, it closed down. I don't know if you noticed, but it closed from here. It was at the background, but it closed. And if, for example, you want to close, what's it called? The browser, you can do the same with the process ID. But in the question, it says that you're supposed to use, you're supposed to kill the process without using the process ID. But before that, place the command you used in question 3 into a file called lab5q3txt. So this command, I have to echo, not the result, but the command. So that's why I'm using echo lab5q3.txt. Okay. Then what else? Yeah. So after this, you have to close the browser, which is Chromium, right? Without mentioning the process ID. So usually the command for that is kill all -9 Chromium browse, and it doesn't work. Or you can just even try with Chromium browse. This was the issue. It didn't work even in class. And Hussein from my class mentioned that we can use pkill and -9 Chromium browse, but it gives you that error, but it eventually it closed the browser from here. But you do not have to worry about this command. Okay, you do not have to learn about pkill. It's not there. It's not covered in the text. Sorry, in the slides. So you don't have to worry about it. Just know what is the command. If you want to close any other, let's say if I had, for example, if I had from here, if I open LibreOffice again, oh my god, it's so difficult to use. Start, finish, okay, and I type something here and I run the ps-u command, I can see Office is running now, right? So I can just use kill all -9 and then soffice.bin. Oh my god. Oh, okay, it did close at the end. Okay, so you can use kill all, but for that you need to know the name of the process. But if it's Chromium, you don't have to worry about it. So that question is kind of wrong. So I would just skip that question. Or you know what? Let's just put this command there. So I can just echo kill all -9 s office.bin to lab5q4.txt. Okay, just so that we have all the files at the end. What else? Okay, the next one for this, now we're done with the remote desktop, so I can just log out from here. And you should also log out, don't just close it like that. Okay, so we're done with those tasks. Now, the second part is for pipes. So you are supposed to write what does the command who grep 820 star do. So you can just run the command who grep 820 star. This basically shows you all the users, all the student users who are currently logged in on the system. If I just do who, it will show me all the users, which includes me as well. But here, if I just put A20, it is only selecting the list of users that are students. Basically, their account name starts from A20. Okay, so that's done. The next thing is count the number of lines in user include recursively. Number of files. Okay, number of files in user include recursively. That's okay. How, before counting it, how do you list files in a folder? We know that for listing files in a folder, you are supposed to use ls, right? And then in the list, like in full detail, you have to use -L, right? But whenever the question says recursively or subdirectories or subfolders, okay? Either if the question says recursively or subdirectories or subfolders, then you have to write capital R. Okay, ls minus lr, because it says recursively. If you did this, it will show you all the files and folders that are present under my directory currently. But they want you to show the same, but for user and then include. So for this particular folder, they want you to show all the folders and files recursively. Okay, and then it shows you that by categorizing them in under folders. Okay, so after this, I mean, we're not done with the full thing yet. So the same command, but we need to get all the names that start with L, okay, and end with .h and contain a number. So it starts with L, ends with .h, and contains a number. So it should look something like this. For example, starts with, oh, I can't write there, but I'll write it here. It should start with L, should have something in the middle, a number, something, and then .h. This should be kind of how it should look. Okay. How can we get that? You can use grep and then put the single quotes to now, or you don't have to put the single quotes also. You can just write it without the single quotes. Now it should start with L, okay? How do we signify that the name should start with L? You have to put this character. This character says or mentions that it should start with something. So you're saying starting should be L. So it should start with L, okay? It can have anything, but then it should also have a number, 0 to 9, okay? And then it can have, again, anything in the anything before the number, anything after the number, and then it should have the, what's it called? It should have a dot, right? Now in regular expression, when you put a dot, it indicates a character, but we actually want a dot in the file, right? So you can use the slash and then dot to signify that this is a dot and it doesn't represent a character, and then h. Okay. Unfortunately, there is no file with that name, and so there's no way of really seeing if this is going to work, but this is the correct way of writing it. It should start with L, it can have something in the middle, then it should have a number between 0 and 9, then again it can have something else, and then we need a dot. So to represent a dot actually as a dot and not like a expression, you have to put a slash and then h. Okay. And what they wanted you to do initially was to count, right? So you can use WC for counting. -L will represent how many lines or how many files are there. So 0. Okay. Then, okay, we're done with that. The files F1 drivers 2017 and then 2018 are in lab home files. Oh, sorry, home lab files, sorry. Contains the list of drivers, team, and nationalities. Okay. Okay, so if you try to use cat or even more, you can see the file, but it's not in my folder. So I have to go to home, lab files, and then F117, and it shows me the driver in the first column, nationality in the second, and teams in the third. So similarly, you can show multiple files. You can put /home/lab_files, and then F1 underscore drivers 18. Okay, but for this one you have to press enter. Okay, so instead of using it with more, you can use it with cat. Okay, so I'll just use the command again and just change more to cat, because for more, for some reason you have to keep pressing enter to see all the all the information from the file. So if you use cat, it shows everything from both the files. So cat, the first file, space, the second file. Okay, that will show you all the data from both the files. Now, what you're supposed to do is give a list of French drivers. So in the nationality column, you have people who are French, right? So you have to select those drivers that are French. So again, clear. You can use grep and just write French. So it will find, so from this output, from cat, it will find every line that has the word French on it. Okay, and then um, okay, so it will display every line from the output where the word French is found. But if you notice, there are two lines that are repeating. So this line and the third line are basically repeating. Okay, so in order to avoid that, for example, here they want you to give the unique list, meaning the list shouldn't have any duplicates. So for that, you can use the command unique. And if you use it again, it will not do anything right now, because for you to be able to use the unique command, the list should be sorted, because it only works when it finds duplicates next to each other. So if this one was next or before this line, then it will remove it. Otherwise, it will not remove it. So you just have to sort before you remove it. Sorry, before you use unique. So now we only have three French drivers. Okay. Okay, so for this part, you have to place the commands you used and the output of these commands into a file named lab5 underscore q5.txt. So I'll write vi lab5 underscore q5.txt, and then for A it was, oh sorry, insert, sorry, A, and then for the first question it was who. You can also echo them, but sometimes the echo doesn't work properly, so just write it manually using vi A20 star. Basically this shows, it shows all the student users that are currently logged in on the system. Okay, and I will save this using WQ, and then I will run the same command who grep A20 star and append it to lab5 underscore q5.txt. So if you do vi again, you will see that it shows you all, it added all the students that are currently logged in. So again, q, quit for quitting. Then what's next? B, right? Oh, I should have been in the file so I can write for B. So press G, so you're at the end of the file, and then press insert, enter, and then B is basically, the command was, if we remember it, It was ls minus lr slash users slash include, then grep start with L, anything in the middle, then the number, then again anything, then the dot, and then H, and then you had to count the lines. This was the command. Okay, and then again escape WQ. If we run that command, which was basically, I have it here somewhere. This, oh, sorry, we had to redirect it to lab5 underscore q5.txt. Okay. For some reason, it's the putty is too slow today. Anyway, so again, go back to VI, and then now insert, and then C. For C, the command was cat slash home slash lab underscore files slash, I'll just copy this from here, right click, and the same slash home slash lab underscore files slash right click, and just change it to 18, and then grep the French drivers, sort, and then unique for removing duplicates. Okay, escape WQ, and then run the command. God knows where it is. Wait. Okay. This one. Oh, no, wait. Sort, and then unique. Again, we have to redirect it. Oh my God, this is so confusing. Redirect it to lab5 q5.txt, and now we have the complete answer for this. I think so. Yes. So we have the command, we have the output for each of them. Okay. Now for the sixth one, you have to produce a file Q6 that contains the listing of etc, so that only the directories are listed. If you just write, let's say ls, it's going to show you the names. If you write ls minus l, it will show you everything, right? And here, for a directory, you will notice the first letter is always D for a directory, and for a file it's just a minus, but for a directory it's always D in the beginning, right? So for that, let's say here we want to produce a listing for etc directory, right? So you can write ls minus l slash etc. So it will show you all the files and folders in etc. But we don't want that. We want the listing, but only for the directories. So you can use grep and say get everything that starts with D. Okay, so you now notice everything was selected that started with D, and D is basically highlighted here. Now you have to produce a file that contains a listing of, okay, I think that's done. You just have to redirect it to lab5q6.txt. Okay, and if you say more lab5q6.txt, it will show you the same thing. Okay, good. Now find out with one command how many processes are currently running on your system and redirect it to Q7. Find out with one command how many processes are currently running on your system. So all the processes that are currently running on your system, you can show them using ps minus ef, and you have to find out how many. This is a mistake I made in class. I thought you have to just show the processes that are currently running, but you have to basically count them. So you will say WC minus L, and it shows you that there are 2,594 processes that are running, but you have to redirect this output to lab 5q7.txt. Okay. Okay, that's it finally. But I'll continue with the optional tasks so you can get more information. So for the first one, you're supposed to produce a file, lab5qa1, that contains a list of all subdirectories in your home directory. Now, subdirectories, like I said before, subdirectories, subfolders, or recursively. If any of these words are used in the question, you're supposed to use ls minus lr. Okay, and that's it basically. You just have to use that here and redirect it to lab 5 underscore qa1.txt. Okay, but if you run the command, it will show you this. Oh, sorry, minus. It will show you all the folders and all the files and everything that's within the folders as well. So for example, here it is showing me what's in, where is it? It's showing me that in lab 2 there is a directory my stuff, and then in that directory you have something else. So basically it's showing the subdirectories, or it is showing recursively. Okay, so the next thing is identify all files in your home directory which the group has write permission for and redirect it to this file. Okay, so basically when you do ls minus l, we know the first letter is for either file or directory. So if it's D, then it's directory. If it's minus, then it's a file, right? Then we know the first three characters represent the permissions for the owner or for the user. Okay. The first three are for owner or the user. The next three are for group, and then the next three are for others. Okay. Now they're saying you have to find all the files that basically have write permission for the group. Okay, for the group you should have write permission. And how do we know that? If you count the characters, you will see the write permission here is basically, it's so difficult to show, but the write permission here is basically the sixth character. So if you count from the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The write permission for the group is basically the sixth character in that line, right? So you can say that ls minus l grep everything that starts with any 5 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any 5 characters, but the sixth character should be W. Okay. And notice it's only showing me, which is everything basically, but it's only showing me all the files or directories that have write permission. Okay. Okay, so for the last question here, you're supposed to produce a file that contains a sorted list of unique file extensions in the directory, in the current directory, and count each type. So basically you have to count how many .txt files do you have, how many .tar files do you have, how many .zip files do you have, all of that. And you are supposed to use all of these commands to basically achieve that result. Okay. Now, the first thing you do to basically get the file names is ls, right? Ls shows you the name of files and directories. But if you notice, the names with that are file names usually have a dot in them, right? All of the file names have a dot somewhere in them. So you can use ls and then grep with single quotes, slash, and dot. Why? Because all of the files have dot. But why did I put slash? Because if you just write dot, it will be represented as an expression and not a dot. It has a different meaning, right? So if you want to just use it as a dot, you have to put single quotes around it, backslash, whatever slash that is, and then and then the dot, and this will give you all the file names which have dot in them. Now, after this, the first thing that you need to use is rev, which basically reverses the text file names. So rev, and see, now it's reversed the file names for you. Then you have to use cut. Now I don't know how to use cut, so what I can do is use the manual cut, and you can see that you can use a delimiter here, which I'll show you how it works. And it will split the name into different parts based on the delimiter. So here, if I quit and if I try to write cut minus D for the delimiter, and the delimiter here, I have to tell them about the delimiter, right? So dot is the delimiter. What I want to happen here is everything that is before dot should be separated and everything that is after dot should be separated. Okay? I just need the extensions, right? I don't want to show the file names. So I want to remove everything that is after the dot and just keep the extension, right? So cut will separate, the cut command will just separate the first half before the delimiter, which is the dot, and then it will remove whatever is after the dot, which is again the delimiter here, right? So anything before the dot is separated, and anything after the dot is also separated. Okay, so it's basically split. Now, if it's cut, we can't just use it like that. We have to get which part we want, because now the name is divided, right? It has two parts. The first part is before the dot and the second part is after the dot. You have to specify which part you want. I want the first part here because I want to show the extensions, right? So I would write F1 and it would show me all the extensions only. It will remove everything after that. If I write F2, it will show me everything after the dot and it will remove everything before the dot. So we need extension, so let's leave it at F1. And then you're supposed to use rev again, because this is at the moment reversed. Instead of zip, it is piz. So you have to reverse it back. And now it's in the correct word here. And then we're done with the reverse again, and then sort. So you sort again. So it's now alphabetically sorted, and then use unique. Okay, but one thing is missing here. We need to show how many. It is showing us the files that uniquely, I mean without any duplicates, but it's not showing us how many tar files are there, how many text, and how many zip files are there. So we also need to count it. So if you notice here, it says unique basically counts the number of each unique entry in the list. So maybe somewhere in the unique command, you're able to count, right? So I can just write man unique. And there's an extension, an argument that basically is minus C, which counts all the occurrences. Okay, so all you have to do is put minus C at the end, and it will show you how many tar files are there, how many text files, and how many zip files. And you just redirect this output to lab5q6.txt. Okay. I think that's it for this question. I will show you how to zip and retrieve files from PSFTP in a different video, because I noticed a lot of students are struggling with that. But that's it for this video. I hope it was clear. If you have any questions, you can always ask me
make sure to practice this as many times as you can so that you can become an expert at it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day.